big breaking news coming at the moment. Just a quick moment, gentlemen. The Bureau of Civil Aviation Security has instructed all airlines and airports across the country to enhance security measures. All passengers at all airports will undergo secondary ladder point check, or the SLPC. Visitor entry to terminal buildings has been banned. Air marshals will be deployed accordingly. This is what the Ministry of Civil Aviation sources are telling us. Pradeep is joining us. Pradeep, not entirely surprising, given that several of our airports in the northern part of the country are shut at the moment, and now there are going to be secondary ladder checks, which essentially means that there's going to be a fresh set of security checks before the passengers board the aircraft. India certainly does not want to take any chances at this sensitive time. Pradeep.
Yes, Madhav, you are absolutely right, because such measures are being taken to ensure that anywhere the security reach is not there, because you know the enemy is trying its level best to do something where enemy is going to destabilize the situation here in India. Already you rightly said that many of the airports have already been shut. There will be no domestic flight taking place from any of these air stations. But yes, now there will be a second check also, where they are going to ensure that properly the air marshals will be there. They will be properly checking. Nobody will be allowed to move towards these buildings without proper checking. So basic idea is, because we have seen, one, the disinformation campaign is going on. Second, they are trying to also ensure that there are some kind of a terror attack, because there are intelligence input. What Pakistan will try to do, that they will ask their terrorists who are operating on the Indian side to carry out any kind of an attack. So that's one of the reasons that on one hand they are trying to ensure that they are able to thwart any kind of an external aggression. On the other hand, they're also trying to ensure that the counter-insurgency grid is strong enough to deal with any kind of a threat, whether it is emanating in Kashmir Valley, whether it's in Jammu region or any other part of the country. And we have already seen that they are continuing with disinformation campaign, Madhav. What they did, that short while back they said there was a Fidayeen attack in Rajouri. Then there was another rumor that was spread that there is a Fidayeen attack in Pathankot region, because they know there is a complete blackout. That will lead to, in fact, uncertainty, and that will create panic among people also.
Well,
and also it will be a kind of
a doing what it does best, in fact, trying to churn out more and more fake news to try and destabilize the situation. That's an attempt from Pakistan's side, not just the offensive that we're seeing as far as conventional warfare is concerned, but once again trying to spread all those lies and fake news. Let me quickly bring in on this particular note. You want to come in on that, Colonel Ramchandran?
Yeah, just two quick points. You know, you were talking the political messaging. The messaging is clear. The days of diplomacy, coercive or otherwise, are over. The days of one-off surgical strikes once in 5 years are over. You mess with us now, mess with us once, and we will take down 9 of your terrorist camps. That is the message that has gone loud and clear. And the second point I'm making is that this should not be again one-off. There is a principle of war, maintenance of momentum. I'm sure the armed forces will follow that principle. And the last point I have is, you were talking about dismantling of terror infrastructure. Pakistan has actually reinforced their support for terror infrastructure by attending the funerals and a wreath by the chief of the army staff and their generals and brigadiers there, standing there in a sign of respect. It is ridiculous.
Perhaps
so honestly, that terror support by Pakistan, I don't see it going anywhere in a hurry.
And they've gone to long lengths to try and brazen it out. And let me bring in fact, on that note, Abhijit Iyer Mitra. Abhijit, all of this is wishful thinking. At the end of the day, for diplomacy, it's very nice to say all these things, but getting it done on ground, it's a completely different matter. No amount of pressure from the State Department of the United States is perhaps going to convince Pakistan, given the fact that it's looking and staring at so much of losses in terms of its own army, its own defense services, as well as its people.
You know, the main thing out here, Madhav, is their economy is tiny. It all comes down to industrial strength and the strength of your economy. We can outlast them at this. At this rate of conflict, we can literally sustain this for 6, 7, 8 months. They can't sustain this rate of conflict for more than, say, 10, 15 days at best. And if this goes into full-fledged war, they can't even do that. So, this is a very clear case of you have to wait them out. Now, there is a possibility that they are sending in all these drones. They may be cheap drones to saturate our air defenses, use up our missiles, expensive missiles, and then they'll come in with their big, aircraft and things to launch the big strikes and so on and so forth. Perfectly fine. The thing is, we have much greater depth, much greater reserves, much more economic strength to get what we need to replenish everything, etc., etc. I really don't know what they are thinking right now. They are playing to an old book, which put the onus for strategic, restraint on India, and basically accepted that the strategic balance in so-called South Asia would be that Pakistan would always be the errant child. Today, that errant child is getting a lesson which it has never learnt before. It has been a complete role reversal. To give you a slightly humorous analogy, this is like, the child who embarrasses the mother in the departmental store when it wants something and throws a tantrum. What if the mother goes to school and throws a tantrum and embarrasses the kid in front of its parents? It's kind of like that. The roles have reversed. The Pakistanis don't know. This is uncharted territory.
All right. Just interrupt.